The holidays are over and we appreciate your service to us. So now it's time that you be fired over a text message. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur. And this is a story that is actually technically a few days old, but oh, wait a minute. That's right. It's not Christmas anymore. I can finally retire this hat and go back to this with no complaints from Katie until December 1st again. I love you, honey, but I don't know. This seems to be like overkill sometimes. But you know, whatever. So anyway, Uber drivers and Lyft and Postmates and DoorDash, heck, DoorDash is what kind of got me started in this whole YouTube sphere thing with the gig economy, if you will, are notorious for not having due process for their drivers. Now, that's because their drivers are, of course, independent contractors. They don't actually work for the company. That means when they do something wrong, they get fired through the most inhumane ways possible. And trust me, it is being fired. They might say, oh, we're just deactivating you from the platform. Oh, we're just choosing not to do business with you anymore. But when you take away someone's livelihood, and there has not been a discussion as to why well, if you just take away the livelihood in general, that is being fired in a sense. And then it makes it even worse when you don't even have a discussion about what it is that went wrong and what they could do to fix it, if there's even anything to be fixed. And this is one of the biggest complaints for Uber and Lyft drivers. But would you believe that there are actually companies out there, like publicly traded companies, that have employees that actually do the same thing, and all they do is they send a text that says you have been fired, which is essentially the way Uber and Lyft will fire you. They just send you an email saying, hey, you know what? Thanks for your service. You're gone. Good luck making money. But there is actually a big company, like one of the biggest companies in the world apparently, that do this very inhumane and barbaric thing. And you probably all know where I'm going with this. And I'm talking about this article from AOL.com. An anonymous Amazon worker has written a column in The Guardian depicting what it's like to work at an Amazon warehouse or fulfillment center at Christmas. The period from the week before Black Friday running through to Christmas is called peak, and is when the warehouse workers are expected to put in more hours and shift patterns that can add up to about 60 hours a week, according to the anonymous employee. Now, some people might be saying, well, why is it anonymous? Why don't they go on the record? And here's the reason why. Amazon has been known to sue people for actually sharing what's going on in the building. I remember the BBC got in serious hot water with Amazon, and the special has not aired since the original airing, although because Amazon sued them, it is now readily available on YouTube. So start typing and enjoy, where the BBC posed as Amazon employees with hidden cameras and recorded the barbaric nature. And when it came time to, they didn't even, here's the thing, they were so certain Amazon was going to hate them, they didn't even ask Amazon for a quote. They did the special, and then they asked Amazon for a quote. Like, okay, you've seen the special now. What is your response? And their response was to sue them. So this is why it's all anonymous if you want to know, because they will probably not hesitate to not fire, they're already fired, to sue a regular low-level wage employee, or at the very least, they might make them no longer Prime member. You know, that whole South Park joke. Anyway, the period from the week before Black Friday running through to Christmas is... Oh, sorry, we went to that. Typically, Amazon brings in seasonal workers to help cope with the increased workload, and the anonymous writer claims that they double the workforce with these employees who are paid less, not given benefits, and put on a restrictive time off allowance, ensuring they'll be working through the holiday season. Yeah, that's... I mean, come on, guys. Just can't you just put them on the brakes? The staffer who works in a warehouse in the U.S. said that last year, seasonal employees were laid off the day after Christmas Day via text. Quote, last year, that was when the culling of seasonal associates began. People were fired mid-shift by text message, the worker said. Not an hour later, text went out seeking volunteers for overtime for the next 2 weeks. Wow. Like, the incompetence of this company is absolutely amazing. You know what? Here's the thing. I know that there's a lot of people, because people get really upset with me for talking about Amazon on this channel. I mean, some of them say that, you know, oh, they come here for Uber and Lyft. You know, that's fine. I understand. I am still trying to branch the channel out to other areas. So one of the New Year's things is you will see more stories about other companies. But people get especially pissed when I talk about Amazon. And I think I know why. And I've explained this before. It's because in the Amazon case, my viewers are the rider. When they're watching my Uber, my Lyft, my Postmates, my DoorDash, they are the driver. They see how bad they are being treated. And so they like it when I complain about the company. But when it comes to Amazon, they are not the driver, they are the rider. And so they are seeing all the benefits that riders of Uber and Lyft see, while not seeing the negative side of how they get those good things. They don't want to be informed of these things because they want to continue getting free shipping with a clean conscience. So when I get up and I talk about, hey, 60-hour weeks, hey, inhumane conditions, hey, their breaks are so timed, they pee in bottles so that they can not get in trouble. And now they're getting fired via text, which I'm sure most Uber and Lyft drivers could actually relate to and say, yeah, that is a crummy thing to do. In fact, if you want a full-length movie about this, pretty much this very thing, there is a wonderful movie that opened, I think, 9 years ago now, called Up in the Air. It starred George Clooney, and it was written and directed by Jason Reitman. It was actually nominated for Best Picture, lost to The Hurt Locker. And that is a movie where George Clooney had a career where he fired people. And he was a very antisocial person. All he wanted was his reward points and stuff. And there was a dignity to his process, even though he knew he was doing a very, maybe a necessary, but not a very nice thing to do. Then a young girl played by Anna Kendrick comes to the company and proposes we could fire people over the internet. Instead of flying people over state lines and stuff to fire these people in person, we'll just put them in front of a computer and we'll do it, you know, with the cost of a T1 line. And Clooney was like, no, that is we do a very, very personal thing. We are firing people from their jobs. This is the most personal thing you will ever do, and they react very negatively. And you need to know how you need to do it in person, and you know, you just can't do that. And at the end of the movie, ended up being right in that sense, where he, you know, they didn't outsource it to computers, if you will. It's a very, very good movie, but that movie is like a very interesting commentary on, you know, how people's jobs can really hang in the balance and how people of power seem to be disconnected sometimes from the little people that they're firing. And then, of course, this personal man's journey about, you know, realizing there might be more to life than just racking up points. I'm not doing it any justice whatsoever, but it's readily available, I think, on streaming services, so go watch it. But I suspect that if they made a sequel, this might be one of the things that we're talking about. He would be dealing with the gig economy where people are, you know, just fired through texts, and the company say, you know what, yeah, why not you just send a text to those people and we can fire them? Because like, when you're watching Up in the Air, the reason that I think this made so compelling is because at the time it came out, the idea that you would be fired over the computer monitor, that wasn't even a thing. Like, why would you do that? That is a scummy thing to do. I'm sorry about the plumbing issues. You know, the roommates are up and about. And yet they're doing it with Uber drivers, and they're doing it with Amazon employees. And the thing is, Amazon employees, actual employees, Uber employees, independent contractors, it doesn't matter. You are being treated inhumane the exact same way. And as much as people dislike the idea of Uber getting bigger, because when Uber gets bigger, they will Uberify the workforce, Amazon is, in a sense, already doing it. Let's continue this. Reportedly, these texts were accidentally sent to some of the employees who had just been fired. Yeah, because, you know, when it's not personal, of course you're just going to send it to everyone. Prompting a friend of the writer to kick a pal over, saying, F this, and march out of the building. Business Insider has contacted Amazon for comment. And since this article was written 6 days ago, I strongly suggest they will not be getting a response. So anyway, I actually had this story that I wanted to do on Christmas Eve, but I decided not to do it because, you know, it's Christmas Eve. You don't want to be too negative, and I wasn't going to be posting my usual doom and gloom on Christmas Day. That is a day to celebrate a lot of positive things, including the positive things on this channel, which is getting to know you people and you watching me and you listening and you inviting me into your home or on your phone or on your way to work while you listen to me podcast style, and I wanted to acknowledge that. But I knew that the day after Christmas, I was going to go after Amazon in a big way, in the sense that I was going to say, you suck really, really loudly and really, really frequently, which, you know, that's pretty much all I can do. And maybe not use their services, of course. And of course, this is especially ironic because, I mean, one of the things that I do admit, I've never been shy about it, I still have an Amazon seller account. I mean, you kind of need it for some extra money, and there was a little bit of irony, of course, to know that I was making the story, and then on Christmas Day, I made over $200 in sales just because it's Amazon. It's one more reminder, it's like, you hate them, you don't want anything to do with them, and yet they still make you money, and I don't like that. I really don't like that. It's like the Patreon thing. Granted, I'm not making much with Patreon. I would really like to close that account and move on to something else, another way that people could support me, and yet, who else is there really? So that's going to continue to be, unfortunately, the theme going through into 2019, how these companies continue to just take advantage of us. And then we might even start discussing, maybe in some op-ed videos, who knows, like, are they so big, can we even do anything about it? Or do we just lie down and take it? So, because I'm in that position with Amazon where it's like, with their seller account and with their Twitch, I do make money on those services, and they are, unfortunately, vital to my livelihood. I do what I can by not buying from them, because I sense that they would prefer me to buy from them than to make money from them, but that's all I can do at this point. But what about you? What do you think about the story? Do you disagree with what Amazon did? Do you think it's not that big a deal? Have any of you been fired by text through Amazon or another company that wasn't Uber or Lyft? I would love to know. So, comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, blame responsibly. Have a good one.